into the next conspiracy. This one I totally don't believe because I'm a space junkie. I love everything, outer space and NASA. But a lot of people believe that the 1969 moon landing was faked and actually staged and filmed at Area 51. So, in a scenario proposed by a conspiracy writer...
Well, Mike, it was staged. It was staged. It was staged film, and I know this. But the thing was that the actors in the movie demanded that it would be filmed on site, on location. That's why it cost so much.
Oh. So,
all right.
I'll just move on.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Just bad jokes. I got many more I won't tell.
Okay. So in the scenario proposed by conspiracy writer Bill Kaysing, NASA scientists discovered in the late 1960s that it would be impossible to send astronauts to the moon because of lethal radiation risks. So instead of going through an embarrassing shutdown of the costly Apollo program, officials designed an incredible hoax. They staged an actual rocket launch, but once the spacecraft was out of sight, the Apollo 11 crew was secretly transferred to a military aircraft and flown to a movie stage. A few days later, astronauts Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin play-acted the lunar landing in front of cameras, and the phony event was then transmitted by NASA to millions of unsuspecting viewers. So this one is pretty far out there. I think there's a lot of documentaries debunking the fake moon landings, and I'm sure we will get people emailing us mad that we're talking that about it.
I'm with you. The moon landing happened. The only credence I would give to this conspiracy is that we did go there. And there is this thing, and it made me think. I still think we're there, and I still think the footage is real. I'm just going to lay that out there. But the one closest thing that I said, okay, that sounds more legit, is that we did go there, we landed, but the actual film was destroyed, and they recreated it. Like, just to, because, and so, like, they were actually there, and they recreated it to say, like, hey, we still need to show something to the people. Mm-hmm. That's the only thing I can think of that makes sense.
Yeah.
But that kind of blows away too when you think about the timeline. Like, they did launch, and then it a few days later you're seeing this on video. So it's like, would they know ahead of time and they filmed ahead of time, or did they produce it at the same time? And that's where it's like, eh.
Yeah, and there's a lot of evidence that it happened because you have radio transmissions coming from the moon that other countries were following.
Yeah.
So you would have thought at the time, the Soviets, if they could expose the U.S. government was covering up a massive moon landing hoax.
Yeah.
I imagine they would have announced that in a heartbeat.
Yeah, especially
because that would be tremendously devastating.
Yeah, Cold War. If we can discredit the United States in any way possible, they totally would have. So
and. You can point a telescope at the moon, and if you have a big enough telescope, you can actually see the landing sites for the Apollo missions, and you can see footprints on the ground. I mean, you can see the visual evidence that they were on the moon.
I think I read somewhere they bounced a laser off of the plaque or something like that because
they set up a scientific experiment that's still running to this day that it's like a reflector on the surface of the moon. And they shoot a laser at it from Earth, and then it goes up to the moon and bounces back, and they're able to track the distance between the moon and the Earth by this experiment. And I believe it's still it's still running to this day, and it was put up there by the Apollo astronauts. So there's a lot of evidence that says we did land on the moon, but there's always people, there's always going to be people that think it was faked.
Sure.
And they go into, the conspiracy goes into one of the reasons why they would say it was at Area 51 was because it would be too hard to do something like this in Hollywood and conceal it.
Yeah.
So they're like, we got to do this at a really top secret base where the public doesn't even know it exists. And so that's why they think it happened at Area 51. And the thing they go back into, though, there was hundreds of thousands of people working on the Apollo program. And it would have,
it would
if that would be the mother of all hoaxes and conspiracies.
Yeah, to muzzle all of those people, scientists who don't care about, you assume they don't care about government relations, they care about the science, to say no, this is horseshit, we never went there. And I do have to jump in.
Okay.
I was not more wrong about the whole. So the only part I was right about with the president going to Area 51 was Richard Nixon, but it
Yeah.
was Richard Nixon. It was in Florida, and it was with Jackie Gleason. So, and I'll just tell this. It's a neat story, but I was way off, not even close. So whoever was listening that was like grinding their teeth the whole time we were talking, you're having your moment now. So I was completely wrong.
There you go.
So Jackie Gleason's second wife, Beverly, told the story after they divorced that in an evening in 1973, Gleason returned to their Florida home like completely shaken. And after refusing to tell her why he was so upset, he confided in her earlier in the day that President Richard Nixon had arranged for him to visit Homestead Air Force Base in Florida. And this is where Nixon picked him up in a car and went to the Air Force Base and shocked the guard at the gate because it was the President of the United States. And upon his arrival, armed guards took Gleason to a building at a remote location site. And Gleason, who harbored an intense interest in UFOs, saw the embalmed bodies of 4 alien beings 2 feet long with small bald heads and big ears. And he told nothing of the circumstances and swore his wife to secrecy, but she discussed it freely after the divorce, and I think she put it in an unpublished book after that. So I wanted to get that fact correction out there before we got blown up and the entire show was just sidetracked by everyone yelling at us about how far off we were. So,
well, I remember the story. I didn't realize it was in Florida,
that's where I was like,
or
I
it was Jackie
remember.
Gleason.
Yeah, exactly. I just remembered that a president went there in like a car without Secret Service, and that doesn't happen anymore.